Hi, this is Kumar Singh from Designed Analytics LLC and welcome back to the resumption of the video series Maverick Mondays. Yes, just like I mentioned in the previous week that I'll be restarting some of the video series. So previous week was more like random bites, getting warmed up, kind of dusting off some of the skill sets. So let's start the resumption of Maverick Monday series with this specific video. As I promised in a post this morning, I will be discussing Apple's this paper. Right? This paper has created quite a buzz, and then I provided kind of my initial thoughts on the timing and the purpose of the paper, but let's keep that aside for now, at least in the beginning of the video, and try to understand or basically bring forward my views on whether the perspectives in the paper, the research findings shared, are accurate, are correct or not. Right? You will already see that there are like two different buckets now, like of experts, AI experts on LinkedIn, right? One group calling another group, oh, they are trying to be Jim Cramer of AI and things like that. Like, fortunately for me, I don't consider myself an expert. So I always recommend people to take my advice with a pinch of salt, right? I love not being an expert. I do not project myself as an expert because I want to be a lifelong learner in everything. So I do not want to be an expert of everything, because the day I start thinking that I'm an expert in something, that means I believe that I do not need to learn anything. And AI is the last field in which you can call yourself an expert, because it's such a rapidly evolving field, right? So coming back to the topic, is the information, are the insights in there accurate? Yes. But take a step back. We all knew that, right? Again, I'm not an expert. There may have been experts also sharing that. I have been sharing for years, right? Since 2019, that at the back end of it, it's still kind of statistics, right? Number crunching going on. And one of the confusing terms that kind of confuses many people is the neural network, where we start thinking that somehow the neural networks in these algorithms are similar to the way neural networks operate, and that's when we start kind of there is an expectation building in many people who are not that deep into technology, that this probably is thinking and reasoning in the same way as humans do, and we always knew all along that that's not the truth. That's the reason I have been saying that the path to a true AGI, super intelligence, we will not get there on this path, right? Those are not the milestones on the path that we currently have for even for reasoning models, general purpose technology, whatever you want to call those models, right? So nothing is surprising there, right? Now, the aspect that many may find kind of disturbing or concerning is that the reasoning models are not doing that great at complex tasks. Now, complexity is a vague word, right? I can always break a task into certain level of subtasks, right? So consider an example like a trading platform, right? You are trying to build a trading platform that's much better than what you currently have, right? Now, overall, the platform is not just a platform in like that stands in silo, right? There are many integrations behind it, data flowing into it, real-time data, many key elements come into play. It's almost like a mini ecosystem in place, right? That is really complex, right? So if you are trying to build one AI, right, that can take care of that task with the current technology, with the current hardware and other capabilities, yes, it's a task, a reasoning, plus there are other elements to this task, analytics, reasoning, whatever interpretation of aspects of the data will be complex for an algorithm. But remember, you can always break this down into different subtasks, right? And that is why I keep on saying that you cannot actually have one model doing everything. It's not feasible currently, not with the computing power restrictions that we have in the current setup. you need to have multiple algorithms, right? So complexity is relative, right? You can always kind of subdivide complex tasks into many smaller tasks, right? And the fact is, with that approach, you can and definitely use these reasoning models for doing some pretty complicated stuff in your enterprise. You can build an entire ERP, an entire planning system, and many other things on your own using the reasoning models, the LLMs, deep learning models. Everything can be built. But if you want to build that using one comprehensive algorithm, that is something at which every single algorithm will fail, right? So again, take that with a pinch of salt when it says that it fails at complex tasks, right? I wouldn't generalize it that way, because again, complexity is relative. That same complex task can be kind of broken down, right, into simpler tasks. Now you may say, okay, so if we do that, if we are doing it, then what's so advanced about artificial intelligence? Because you don't have to do it. Even for breaking that complex task into simple tasks, you can use AI. So it's kind of inserting a process before the actual reasoning analytics process, right? So that's kind of my view on that. If I were to summarize it, the information in the paper is accurate. The way it has been presented or is being interpreted might be kind of not accurate in my opinion, right? It's not a doomsday scenario. There's no bubble being burst. It's a factual statement that thinking, right, intelligence with this approach is not real intelligence, and this has been said by many experts. Again, I'm not an expert. I do not consider myself an expert, and I do not want to be one in any field. But even those who use the title experts, they have been saying it for years as well. So yeah, that's that. Next is the timing. Now let's think about it from Apple's perspective. The expectations, right, the burden of expectation is humongous on Apple at this point. What's the best way, right, to kind of simmer that down is to simmer down the hype, right? And people think that there is this tool that can do wonders, and they see that Apple is nowhere close to some of the leading players out there. They start panicking. Investors, stakeholders, they start panicking, right? But if you kind of bring it in front of them that, hey, this is not as transformational as you think, that might kind of make the disappointment a little bit less at the WWDC, as I had predicted. And as you can see, there's deeper integration of Apple Intelligence and things like that, but no extraordinary new feature or capability, right? And that was the basically, I got that feel as soon as I saw that paper doing round, that the timing of the paper has been such so that it kind of helps simmer the hype a little bit before the WWDC. Well, that brings us to the end of the resumption of the video series Maverick Mondays. So I will call it like the episode 1 again, right? Thanks for watching. I will see you again a few times more this week in form of videos.